Matikela, welcome to my YouTube channel. So I want us to talk about the Zolani Tete story. It's a very brutal, painful story that I am going to share when it comes to the Zolani story right now. There's a lot of things going on and a lot of things that are being said, a lot of allegations, and social media is buzzing because of the Zolani murder story, Zolani Tete murder story. Okay, so this is one of the cases that we are going to cover here because it's something that is out there in the public eye, and it happened, and it needs us because Zolani Tete was not just anybody. He was a boxer and a champion at it, who was traveling the world with the boxing career of his. Anyway, let's start from point A to Z. Uh, okay, to where it is right now, the entire situation. Zolani Tete, this story has changed, Gesana, every day. There's a lot of things that are being said that are happening at a high speed. We need to be very careful with what we say. I'm just going to tell you what I see on the socials and then give you my opinions. There's a lot of things that are being said. Now, hold your horses and hold your brakes because Sana, it's about to go down. Now, a South African boxing legend who had just reached the end of a 4-year suspension and was preparing to rebuild his career is now dead. 4 men are in custody. Prosecutors are alleging a coordinated and premeditated killing, and the motive remains the biggest unanswered question. All right. Number one, the night Zolani Tete came home and never made it inside. On Friday, 21 August 2026, Zolani Lastborn, known as Lastborn, Tete arrived at his home in Mdantsane, apparently in New 17, in the Eastern Cape. That's Ugompo City. Ne? Reports say he was waiting for the gate to open when 2 armed men wearing balaclavas allegedly ambushed his vehicle and opened fire. Tete, 38, died at the crime scene. A 27-year-old woman who was with him was also shot and taken to hospital. That is the first chilling feature of this case. Okay, this does not, on the allegations presently available, look like a random encounter. The attack allegedly happened at his home at a moment when he was stationary and vulnerable, but that is still an inference, not a court finding. The prosecution will ultimately have to prove exactly who planned the attack, who participated, and why. Okay. Secondly, the timeline from world record to murder investigation. 2014, Tete reaches the summit. Tete won the IBF Junior Bantamweight World title, establishing himself among South Africa's elite boxing exports. 2017, the 11-second explosion. He destroyed Sibonise Gonya in 11 seconds in a world title fight, a performance that became one of the defining moments of his career, of his career, and is widely recognized as the fastest knockout in a world title bout. Okay, bout. Later, two-weight world champion Tete added the WBO bantamweight title, cementing his status as one of South Africa's most accomplished fighters. July 2022 career catastrophe. Okay, Tete defeated Britain's Jason Kangam, but the result was later overturned after that he tested positive for stanozolol. Okay, I don't know what that means. Stanozolol. He was ultimately given a 4-year ban. Tete denied knowingly taking the substance and disputed how it entered his system. But the anti-doping tribunal imposed the full sanction because it was not satisfied that he had established the necessary basis to reduce it. 29 July 2026, the ban ends. The 4-year suspension expired, opening the door for Tete to pursue a return to boxing. He had been training and publicly speaking about resuming his career. I saw a podcast where he was talking about how he lost his mother and everything that happened. And yeah, there was a lot that he was saying there. 21 August 2026, Tete is killed. Less than a month after the suspension ended, Tete was shot dead outside his home. That is what makes this story so brutal. His comeback clock has started ticking again. Then somebody allegedly stopped it forever. The 4 accused, what the state is alleging. Let's look at that now. As of the latest reporting, 4 accused are before the criminal justice system in connection with the murder. Reports identify Uzuzole Gokwana as alleged mastermind. Please keep that in mind. Alleged mastermind Uzuzole Gokwana. Mastermind. Keep that, okay? While the other accused named in recent reporting are Sipesihle Kolisa, Atandwa Gangala, and Sinebongo Kase. The state's allegation includes a coordinated and premeditated operation. These remain allegations, and the accused are presumed innocent unless proven guilty in a court of law. The alleged structure of the crime is potentially crucial. Alleged mastermind, which is Gokwana, alleged intermediary, alleged shooters, execution of the attack. If that is the state's theory, the prosecution's biggest challenge will be proof of the links. It is not enough merely to show that 4 men knew each other. It is not enough merely to prove that a murder occurred. The state must connect each accused through admissible evidence to the particular role it alleges. That could involve cell phone records and location data, communications between the accused, if there's CCTV footage, vehicle movements, ballistic evidence, firearm and ammunition evidence, witness testimony, forensic evidence, financial transactions, evidence of planning before the shooting, evidence connecting any alleged intermediary to an alleged shooter. The stronger the state's theory of a premeditated hit, the more important that evidential chain becomes. The biggest question, why was Zolani Tete killed? This is where we must separate fact from speculation. What is publicly established so far, Tete was ambushed outside his home. 2 masked attackers were reportedly to have opened fire. A woman accompanying him was also shot. 4 people have been arrested. The prosecution is pursuing a case involving allegations of premeditation. What has not been publicly proven? The motive. Recent reporting has referred to investigators exploring a possible revenge angle, but that should not be converted into an established fact. It's still allegations. Until the state presents evidence in court, the motive remains one of the central mysteries of the case. Now, the question that I have, was Zolani Tete the victim of a personal feud, revenge, a financial dispute, or something else entirely? Right now, anybody claiming certainty about the motives is running ahead of the evidence. We are waiting. Now, before we even move forward, I have so many questions. The age of the so-called mastermind is 22 years old. On social media, there is a buzz. The buzz is about this 22-year-old being shot at a certain tavern in Mdantsane, where he was shot by people. The first allegation is that he was shot by white powder foreigners that he was selling for. And apparently the ex of Utete was, I don't know how she was involved, that she was going to get money from the divorce of her and Tete and give to this one to pay the foreigners. There is that rumor. It's a rumor. It's there on social media. It's everywhere in social media. Now, allegedly, boy, the 22-year-old mastermind, was having an affair with Tete's wife. And then Tete found out and then got people to actually pow 22-year-old mastermind. Ne? And then 22-year-old mastermind is currently sitting in a wheelchair, can't even do anything for himself, can't control his own urine. The bowel can come out of his mouth if no one is assisting him to actually do the things. All of that, the lawyer was talking about those things. Now, there's a lot of questions surrounding the mastermind. I'm saying the mastermind because it's not yet proven in court, so we will hear when the court is actually in progress, all of these things. Now, there is also another allegation that uZolani Tete was kidnapped in Mexico when he went for one of his matches or whatever, boxing career situations. He was kidnapped in Mexico. Now, the 22-year-old, how was he going to get to Mexico if this feud goes back there? It's quite... Now, the Mexico issue makes it for me to be very relevant with the shooting because he was kidnapped with his team, and then what happened? Perhaps his phone needs to be downloaded so that we can see what's going on there. Who was talking to Zolani, who was saying what, threats and everything. His phone will tell us. Now, the question that I have, why was it so fast? Okay, the other rumor there on social media is that the guy in the wheelchair, 22-year-old, at the time, okay, uZolani and his wife broke up 8 years ago. And this young man was shot only last year. Now, for a wife that he actually 8 years ago. So this guy, if he is 22 now, and then 8 years ago, how old was he? Let's minus 22 from 8 years ago, guys, fast, because we really need to get to the bottom of it all. 22 minus 8. He was 14. You want to tell me Zolani's wife was having an affair with a 14-year-old boy? And then Zolani let it slide back then. And then this fight was never anywhere in the socials, etc. And Zolani Tete is a well-known boxer in South Africa. Okay, I've learned a lot when it comes to South African courts and cases, especially when they are high profile. Do not be in a rush to believe everything. Wait for the court records. Wait for things to be said in that courtroom and then make up your mind. For now, I don't know what's going on here, but that is the story of Zolani. It's being alleged that this young man, 22-year-old, who was 14 8 years ago, the young man is the reason Zolani is no more. The young man is angry at Zolani because he's revenging himself because he's sitting in a wheelchair because of Zolani brought people to unalive him. The question, if that story was known that Zolani brought people, why was Zolani not arrested and not in prison? And Zolani is a well-known person. Kuning. Okay, let's look at the court case where things stand. The case has moved quickly from arrest to court appearances. Recent reporting says the state opposed bail for the accused facing the principal allegations, while the case is expected to continue through formal bail proceedings and further investigation. Reports indicate further court proceedings were set for 1st September 2026 for the relevant formal bail process. This bail stage matters kakhulu because a bail hearing is not a murder trial. A court is not deciding guilty or innocent, but the evidence placed before a court during bail proceedings can give the public its first meaningful glimpse into the state's case theory, the alleged motive, the alleged roles of the accused, the strength of the evidence, possible flight risk, alleged interference with witnesses, and the seriousness of the allegations. So we are still going to hear now the controversial comeback that never happened. This may be the most tragic chapter. Tete's 4-year suspension was imposed following the positive, whatever that stanozolol test after his July 22nd fight. The official anti-doping decision records that Tete accepted the anti-doping rule violations but disputed intentional wrongdoing and could not establish the source of the prohibited substance of the tribunal satisfaction. The sanction ran until 29 July 2026. Tete, however, consistently maintained that he did not knowingly take the substance. He was training and planning a return to the ring once eligible. But there was another complication. Reports in late July said he proposed comeback. His proposed comeback faced a licensing obstacle connecting to boxing South Africa's requirements, including concerns related to age and inactivity. So imagine a situation yakhe, banned, career interrupted, reputation damage, 4 years out of the ring, finally eligible again, training for a return, then murdered. That is the devastating human act behind the headlines currently. Now we will see what's going to happen with this. What are your thoughts when it comes to this? But I'm saying, let's wait for the court. The first, perhaps, we will have a glimpse of what is happening with all of this. Then from there, when the proceedings actually start, that's when we will actually make up our mind. But for now, something is off with this boy, 22-year-old Uzuzole, and Kotwana, and being the mastermind. It looks very sketchy for me, especially when there is the Mexico kidnapping, when there is this 4-year ban that Uzolani was adamant that he never took any substance knowingly. Something is going on there. Anyway, what are your thoughts when it comes to this? Let's talk in the comment section. Thank you so much. I'll see you on our next video. Bye-bye.